Good Sunday morning. I'm Jaden Jefferson, and welcome to this week's Community Focus. On last week's show, I was joined by Tom Winooski, the Republican candidate for Lucas County Commissioner. And on this week's show, I'm joined by his opponent, incumbent Pete Gerken. Take a look. I had your opponent on the show last weekend, and
Okay.
basically he said that he wanted to bring balance back to the Board of Lucas County Commissioners. And currently, the board is made up of 3 Democrats. So do you believe that it's currently balanced in its current state?
I believe the board has been high functioning with 3 Democrats for the last 30 years, and we have a county record to prove success and achievement. So to me, there's not really in the county work that we do. It's not really a Democrat or Republican issue. It's about getting work done collaboratively with the community, and we've done that. So for me, it's not an issue. If there's been Republicans that reform Maggie Thurber in 2005, but guess what? The community elects us. It's not for me to say. We go to the ballot. The community has elected the boards that you've had, and we have accomplishments and been good functioning boards.
And another thing, obviously, that the county is going through right now is some struggles with regard to a couple things. One being, of course, the Lucas County Jail project, which, of course, has jumped in price. And that's something that has been a project that's been in the works for some time. So let's start with that issue, and then we'll move on to the second issue of how are we going to address it?
Well, we are addressing it. We came back, architects and engineering firms came back after a long period of time with a price tag of $200 million when they first said it would be $220 million. That was a problem for anybody. Look, I've built a lot of projects in my career, from helping to build G plants to stadiums to hotels to convention center. It happens. Architects come back, they give you everything they want to have in it, and then you need to look at the program and find out what you can actually afford and still make the project work. They're in the process of skinning that price now. I met with them the other day. They've already taken almost $40 million out of what they first said it would be. I think there's a little overreach on what they did, but we have the site, we have the plans. There's two forces against the jail getting built currently. Number one, they have to work out some of the pricing, and they're working on that. And the interest rates right now are way too high to finance even $200 million. I don't think anybody in their own home or building projects would take the biggest construction project they're going to ever do and finance it at the highest rates in history for government borrowing. This is the first week of September. We believe that there will be an interest rate cuts within weeks. We believe there's probably 2 or 3 more behind that early into next year. It's just smart fiscal planning and policy to wait when you get a better price. I'll give you an example. At the interest rate we're at now, if we were to pull the trigger on this, it would be almost $2 million a year in financing costs a year. If we bring that down, that could be half of that, even within a few points. So I think it speaks, I hope it speaks to our fiscal responsibility to do it. Nobody's going to finance their biggest project ever when it's overpriced and being reduced and at the highest interest rates.
And then, of course, Lucas County Canine Care and Control recently ran into some issues of its own with regard to the fact that that project, it also saw a little bit of some delays. But one thing happening right now internally has been some concern about the volunteer program, which was recently removed, and kind of speak to that and what the situation is in terms of oversight at LC4.
So let's take to the building of the new canine. It's well underway. It's on our targeted price. And if you drive by that corner, you see bricks and mortar coming out of the ground. We're about 9 months away from getting into that building, 9 to 10 months. And we're looking forward to do that. That's not going to solve all the problems at Canine Care and Control. Anybody that's in there, any volunteers or employees, know it is a place that's hard to work. It's cramped, it's noisy, and it is a place of trauma. We get the dogs that nobody else wants. The Humane Society brings us the dogs they don't want, dogs that are abandoned on the street, the sick, the poor, that can't afford dogs. That's our job, and we're going to do it. We think the volunteer program, we've had it over the years, and they've been helpful to the staff. But to be honest, Jaden, when my staff comes to me in a public meeting 2 weeks ago and say, we feel unsafe, we feel badgered and bullied, and we worried about walking to our cars because of the volunteer activity, as an employer, I'm going to react to that. I have to react to that, to the employees whose welfare is under our control during the workday. Talking with the director, we've said, let's just suspend, not kill. We will suspend the volunteer program, reassess. We'll bring it back. It'll be coming back shortly as we structure it. Everybody will have a chance to reapply and come back. And we value the volunteers' works that are helpful. But like in any other employee, if your employees ever came to you and say, I am I am mentally feel unsafe. I physically feel unsafe because of the volunteer Facebook activity. If the fix to maintain safety is to suspend it, we didn't shut it down. We suspended it until we can reorganize it.
And those are obviously some of the more difficult topics to talk about because there are some implications to them, but there also have been positive things that have happened in the county as well. And Jeep Fest, of course, returned this year and continues to be a big event for downtown Toledo. So kind of speak to that.
So Jeep Fest is something myself and Bruce Baumauer came with up 7 years ago at the 75th anniversary of the Jeep. I think everybody knows Jeep is an icon of our county and our city. I'm a retiree. I spent 30 years there. Everybody knows somebody that either worked there, retired there, has contributed there. So we didn't know how to do it. Here's what we found out. You put a celebration of the Jeep, of the culture of the Jeep, of the workforce recognition of this community that's put into a worldwide product. And guess what? Every year it keeps getting bigger. First year in the rain, it was 40,000 people from 28 states. This year, it was closer to 80,000 people from 37 states and 5 countries. The economic impact of Jeep Fest in one weekend alone was $6 million to the bottom line of our economy. We don't do it for the money. We do it for the celebration and the recognition of our community. It's been a great success. It'll come back year after year. It just keeps getting bigger and more events for the community. It's the premier event of the summer, I think, now, Jaden.
You say you don't do it for money, but you do say that you appreciate the money. And so how is that money reinvested in the community?
Yeah, it's not for Pete getting the money. It's the businesses, the restaurants, the food trucks, the hotels, people from uptown, all the hotel rooms all over the county. Small businesses are the beneficiary of it. When we say it's a $6 million, that's a $6 million impact on people that businesses are here that they receive.
Talk to me about how you make those partnerships happen, because a lot of communities, when it comes to government and private, you don't really see that type of collaboration happen. But it seems that in Lucas County, we've really seen that, and we've seen it be embraced as well.
I think that's one of our founding philosophies of this board, all Democrats, that we value community partnerships. And it's just not with the business. I'll give you an example. Right now, we're in a partnership with the Chamber of Commerce on what's called the Benefits Bridge. And it affects a lot of people in wages. As their wages started to rise, sometimes they lose their benefits, particularly around childcare, because they might make $1 too much. We know that $40 a week, the $1 raise, is not going to cover the cost of the childcare benefits that they may lose. We all know childcare is a struggle for working families. So what we're dealing with the chamber is we got a $2.5 million grant from the state of Ohio. So it's a state grant, a county effort, and the Chamber of Commerce is to bridge that. And we support people to gradually take the raise. We don't want people to quit or not take the raise. We do want them to grow in their wealth. But at the same time, kind of even out the slope as benefits disappear. We've had nothing but private public partnerships. Look at with us and Dana and the Port Authority at the old Jeep Parkway. There's a brand new assembly plant. They're building axles for the Jeeps and Ford. That happened because of a partnership between us, the county, who invested some dollars in to make it happen, the Port Authority, who had the site, and Dana Corporation. I can go on and on. ProMedica, the Downtown Convention Center, a public-private partnership between Dana, ProMedica and the county. So we do it with the Port Authority. We do it with the Metro Parks. We're the partner in launching the new Glass City Park on the east side. We are a named partner in that. So our strength is not just doing the rote work of the county. We invest in partnerships from TPS to the Chamber of Commerce to housing builders and everyone else.
A lot of the big projects do happen in Toledo, but Lucas County also encompasses a city like Maumee and Sylvania. And so what do you think the role of the county is just beyond the city of Toledo?
So let me give you an example of Maumee. I'm glad you mentioned that. There was an affordable housing project available for the first time in Maumee, right? We know Maumee needs housing. They're losing housing to Monclova and Sylvania Township. An affordable housing project came along where we give more people an opportunity to live in a great city like Maumee. We used our ARPA funds. We have invested with that developer and created the first ever affordable housing project. Now, what do I mean by affordable housing? Right now, there's a family can get a 3-bedroom apartment, and maybe you work out in that area, right? You can get a 3-bedroom apartment in this for $1,100. That's reachable for some people that were unreachable for. We did those in the cities, but yeah, we just did that in Maumee too.
And kind of talk to me about the future of Lucas County, because I'm always interested to ask around election season, because people will oftentimes look at the past and then kind of base their decisions on that. What do you think the future looks like?
Here's what the future looks like. We have great partnership with Toledo Public Schools. We have great partnership with the Chamber of Commerce, and our interest in the next few years is building affordable housing. I think nationally, we know we have good workforce. We're getting jobs, but where is the housing? Right now, we're facing a crunch of housing in all three markets. Market rent houses, affordable, and poor housing. We're partnering with housing developers. I'm leading a statewide coalition to bring $700 million to the table to partner with people to build housing in the 5 largest counties in Ohio. That's a process that I'm spearheading with the 5 other largest counties. So where we're looking ahead to workforce development still. The other thing we know is there's some good jobs here, but the real key to economic development is not always landing the next big fish. You have to retain and grow the businesses that you have. It's not quite as sexy as saying, hey, we got 1,000-person Jeep plant or some other plant. Our focus now is to build housing for people, to be partners in the housing industry, and to grow and retain the very good jobs across all sectors that we have now. Jaden, can I add one thing that's important to me? I know
Yes.
you asked the question last week about 911 and response times.
One complaint I've heard from so many Lucas County residents is about the consolidated 911 operations. Obviously, cuts costs tremendously, but some people do report delays and experiencing issues with that. And so, how would you address that issue for a lot of people that rely on 911?
I think they're not down. The data shows me today that they've increased by a minute, and the 911 COG operation 2 nights ago was awarding the outstanding 911 operation in the state. So our response times are solid, they've improved, and we're recognized for a system that we built that's working well.
And I do want to ask also, have you still continued to hear those complaints, or have they also went down along with the data that shows they're going down?
They have. I think because some of the first responders saying we're almost dispatching too fast for them. So that was a hard partner proposition to put that thing together in a single place. Response times are better, and it's an award-winning system right now.
And that's this week's show. Have a great rest of your week.